everybody, and welcome to the tutorial video for your Christmas wreath kits. I hope you're all doing well. So I just wanted to come on YouTube, do a demonstration video, because if you're like me and you're more of a virtual learner, you will really benefit from this video by seeing it rather than just following instructions that we usually have sent out. So everything should be included in your wreath kits. You've got your wreath rings, wire, twine, ribbon and all your foliage and moss. So what we're going to start doing first, I've got everything out ready. I'm going to start by wiring my wreath ring. So got my wire, find the end, and on the wreaths you'll see you've got the joins on the inner bits. We want to find one of them and we want to attach our wire by doing a cross over the T-bar. Once that's secure, I'm just going to pull the wire around 3 times round that point and give it a little tug just to make sure it's nice and secure. We're going to make our way around the wreath ring. So we're making like a zigzag across, because these wreaths are quite heavy. Because obviously your moss is quite damp and then you've got your heavy foliages. So we just want to make sure that everything's nice and secure and tight. So we're just going to go completely around until we meet back. And what you're going to find is that you'll constantly have your wire attached. You're never going to cut the wire until the very end, until everything is on. Lovely. So once we're back to this stage, now we're going to go to our moss, and what I recommend is you really fluffing that moss up. So you'll each get a bag with the correct amount to fit around the wreath ring. If you have some left over, you can always go back round after, fill in any gaps that you might see, any smaller bits, just so it's equal all around. So once we've really fluffed it up, just going to grab a bunch, roll it into like a sausage shape and pop it on to where we left the wire. And then we're just going to go around and tug slightly, securing that moss onto your wreath ring. I'm just going to keep going until we're completely covered. There we are, keep going round. And like I say, as you go around, just give it a little bit of a tug just to make sure it's secure on the ring. There we are. Quite a messy job as well. So I'm just going to brush all that mess. We can always attach that to that bit and just thread the wire around again. There we are. There we are. So all the moss is on now. So what I generally do at this point is I would cut all my foliage to the right size, just so that it makes it easier when we're constructing. It depends how big you want your wreath. Sometimes you can go a little bit bigger, but I recommend the size palm of your hand. So just snip that off. And then we have everything around about that same size. Just makes it easy when we're working with the plant material. Yeah, so that's all cut. Out of your stems, just place them out on here. What we're going to start with is the eucalyptus, the pitto, and the selection of mimosa. What I would do if I were you is I'd take out the eucalyptus bugle and the pussy willow, and we'll come back to that at the very end. Let's take them out for now. Once everything's cut, I'm going to start placing them on my wreath. Now, depending on what hand you use, which one's your dominant hand, might determine which way you go. I like to place my wire to my right, and I'll go this way around. So I'd go anti-clockwise. If you're left-handed, you might prefer to be on this side and go clockwise. So just have a play and see which is your most comfortable way of creating the wreath. And then we're going to get our spruce first. I'm just going to start building little bundles to place on our wreath. I'm just going to chop that down a little bit. So I'm going to find where I left my wire. I'm going to place that bundle just there, and what I'm doing is I'm placing it in the middle of the wreath there, so then each bundle is going to have that same direction. And then I'm going to pass the wire around, give it a little tug. We'll go over 3 times on each bundle just to make sure that it's secure. There we are. So at this point, get creative. You can use different bundles. You don't have to put the same stems in the bundles. So you can mix and match just to make it a bit more textured. And I'm going to place a second bundle on here. I'm not going to go too low because obviously you'll see the wire. Don't want to go too high because then you won't have enough to go all the way around. So you just want to be at the right point where it's taking the same direction around and it's covering all your mechanics. And then a little tug. There we are. And just keep moving it as you go around. Wouldn't worry about if you find any gaps at this point where you think, oh, I should have put something here. Like for instance, I feel like I've got a little bit of a gap here. Because after when it's completed, we can pop stems in to them gaps because we can poke it through the moss. So we can always add to it after. So again, just placing it in the middle of your moss and your wreath. And then we're following the same direction. Now you should have noticed all my stems are going the same way. Never putting the bundles facing the other way. They're always going to follow the same flow. You might just want to pop some extra spruce in if you want, just to thicken it up. There we are, pop that in, that's a bit longer at the back there. All the material that I've chosen as well, all the plant material, will last ages outside, so you'll just find it will mature as the weeks go by, and it will silver a bit more, which is really lovely to see. Every time you go out, I mean, I've had mine on my door since the 1st of November and it still looks absolutely beautiful. 3 times round. There we are. I always like to just have a root through what stems I've got, because sometimes you'll find that one looks better in that position than what another one would. So again, don't rush, just take your time, have a look through what you've cut and place different ones on if you want. I mean, it all comes with experience. Once you've made a few, it's all trial and error. So I think I want a little bit of that there. What I like to keep in mind as well is that you'll see the sides of it. Like, see, I've got a bit of a gap here. So afterwards, I might just pop some extra stems here, because when it's placed on your door, you're going to notice that a bit more. So we just want to make sure that that moss is all covered up. So afterwards, might just poke a few in, and then it just covers it up a little bit more. But we'll have a look at the full wreath once I've got all the foliages on, and see what we're missing. So we're coming towards the end now, as you can see here. So I probably can fit another 2 bundles on here. So what I want to be doing is making sure that towards the end, we're not going to notice where we started and where we're finished. So I'm just going to pop a few of these in and see how it's going to look on here. I'm just going to gently lift the first ever bundle that we put on, just place it on the moss and carefully pop my wire around, just trying to not catch the stems on the first bundle that we attached to the wreath. There we are, getting towards the end here. This is our final bundle. So for instance, I've done that one a bit too long, so I'm going to chop it off because I've got plenty left here. And you might find that you've got plenty left of a certain material. You can always pop it in after, or pop it in a vase if you want, or some other floral arrangements, whatever you're making this Christmas. There we are. So again, I'm just going to lift that first bundle that we did up out the way, slot this one in, and carefully bring my wire over and around 3 times. Sorry, this is our last bundle, so I'll probably do another couple of times round, just to make it that extra secure. 3, I'll probably go 4 or 5. There we are. So once we've got all our bundles attached, obviously our wire is still attached at this point. Just bring it down just a touch and use your scissors to snip so we've got a good length here. And what we're going to do is make probably a little bit of a hook and thread it through the ring. So you might need to dig for it through your moss. Just find where that metal ring is, thread it through. 3 or 4 times is enough. And then once we're at that stage, just going to bend it through, poke it back through the moss. Just make sure that there's no sharp edges around so it doesn't damage your door. So make sure everything's properly secured into the moss. Now at this point, I would recommend, sometimes a full length mirror is really good. Sometimes I like to just hold it up in front of a full length mirror just to see where there's any gaps, but obviously I don't have one here at the minute, so I'll probably pop it on the floor, and at this point I'll be able to see if we've got any gaps missing or anything looking out of place. It's also a good time to look at which is going to be your top and your bottom at this point, because sometimes it looks a bit better in a certain position, so I think that's ideal for me. So I'm just going to lift it up at that point and pop it this way. Now I'm going to come to our Pussy Willow and our Eucalyptus Wreath, and then we're going to just poke these through. So I'm going to start off not with my normal scissors, sorry, my floristry scissors. I'd recommend, if you don't have any floristry scissors, to definitely get something really, really good. And what I want to be doing is cutting on a 45-degree angle to make a point, and then I'm going to find the moss and just poke it in to secure the stem. I'm just going to go through. Probably notice where there's probably something missing. Maybe you've got a lot of spruce in that area, and just adding a little bit of extra there just gives it another dimension and another texture. I'm probably just going to add one more. Poking it straight in that moss. There we go. And then you'll have 3 stems of Pussy Willow. What I like to do with this, because obviously it's extra long, and when it's fresh it's nice and bendy, I like to just find the point where one of the buds are and cut at the top of there and half it. So again, 45-degree cut into 2. Probably a little bit further down. And then cut the ends. So we've got a nice sharp point. Just going to go around and poke these through the moss. Again, all the same way around, never changing direction. So it's got that nice rhythm. And last one. There we are. Now back to the top. You find where you have that top, and then we're going to attach the twine to hang it. Made it extra long for you. You probably won't need it this long, but it depends on where your hook is, or if you're using, I use a command hook so it doesn't damage my door, and that takes the weight of it. I just got it off Amazon. It was a wreath hook. And it's actually like a brass colour as well, so it's a really nice addition to your door. And I keep it on all year round for any of our wreaths. So I'm going to half it and get a loop. I'm going to find my wreath ring at the top of where I want the top bit to be. I'm just going to thread it through, make a little bit of a gap. Quite fiddly, and then once you have, just loop it through to make a loop, bring the 2 ends through that loop and pull tight. Then you can knot it to whatever length that you want to, and directly underneath that you can pop your ribbon on. I mean, there's different ways that you can do your ribbon. You can either have it dangling, you can make a bow if you want to, whichever you think that looks best on your wreath, I'd probably go for. So Just going to go and wash my hands and I'll be back and we'll attach, because obviously it's white, don't want to be getting it dirty. So I'll be right back. I'm back, all clean, well, ish. It's hard this time of year as a florist, your hands, they do suffer a bit. So we're going to get the ribbon. So with this one I've just got some nice white satin ribbon just to complement all the silvery tones of the wreath. So with this one, like I say, you can either have it directly opposite the twine and have it dangling down. What I like to do is have a little bit long and a shorter one, and I'll chop it on a triangle as well just to finish off the ribbon. Or you can make a bow. So I think I'm going to make a bow with this one. So I'm just going to loop it, take one piece, wrap it around and loop it through your fingers and just pull tight. So once I've got that point, I'm then going to take a little bit of the wire, probably 3-inch, nothing more, nothing less. Take that wire and I'm just going to wrap it around my bow, the centre of my bow, and twist just to secure the bow. You can also just make sure it's a little bit more hidden by popping it over the central bit of the ribbon. There we are, so you can't see it. And then I'm just going to find a position. Sometimes I like to do it just off centre at the bottom. That's quite a nice place to pop it. And then when I find the moss, poke it through, making sure it's nice and secure. And then I'm just going to trim them ends to a point. Then it's all finished off. What you can do as well with the wreaths, you can spray the back of the moss if you want to, every few days, just to keep it nice and hydrated. And there we have it. Thank you for watching.